Alright. It's come to my attention that something strange and unusual is happening now at Cindy's. And it kind of reminded me that I need to start documenting my stuff again. I've been slacking. On my documenting. Proof, evidence. Now, David Ray, Judas, has been trying to convince Cindy for years that the neighbors are trespassing on her property and doing things on her property. Just like he did to me. And just like I found out that he did in Kansas City with his family and his neighbors. Gaslighting, basically. Instilling fear in people. Making people think that they got a problem that they don't really have. Making people feel like they need him to solve this growing problem. Does that sound familiar? Sounds like the New World Order to me. They create a problem, and then they advocate a solution for the problem, which puts more and more power into their hands, and into the hands of like-minded criminals to follow them into office. Judas claims to be anti-government, yet he follows the same protocol. Now, I didn't start realizing this until, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago, whenever I first got my chicken coop up and running. I just got the brand new doors put on the chicken coop. A week later, there's this big old dent in the brand new door that I put up. I went out and spent good money on buying good materials to put up this good door for this chicken coop. And I come home like a week later, maybe 2 weeks, but it was not very long. It was just like shortly thereafter. There's this big dent in the door. It's a round dent or indentation. And I'm like, what the heck's up with this, you know? And I look around, and there's a round boulder in the chicken yard that is about the same size as this indentation. So I picked the boulder up. It's a round boulder. It's a rock, but you know, it's a big rock, right? Bigger than my fist. Anyway, it's not really a boulder. It's just a big rock, right? So, I pick up this rock and hold it up to this indentation, and it basically fits the indentation perfectly, you know, or almost perfectly. Perfectly enough to where I assumed that was the rock that was used to make said indentation. I mean, it was right, like maybe 6 foot from the door, the chicken coop door. And I was like, that's strange. So I pointed it out to David because I was like, you know, what? I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I was clueless. I was like, what the heck is this, you know? I pointed it out to him, something that happened. You'd think he would have said that, you know, somebody was trespassing or something. But no, instead, he said the raccoons must have did it. I'm like, what? How and why would the raccoons pick up this big rock and throw it with such force that it would put an indentation, a deep indentation, in this really thick, heavy-duty board that I bought and just installed? It's brand new. It's not like it's weak. It's like heavy-duty shit. If I kicked it, it would hurt my foot. So, I mean, I know raccoons have opposable thumbs and all, but are they really strong enough to throw a big rock at a really thick wooden door and put a really deep indentation in it? I don't think they're that strong. I thought it was odd that he blamed it on the raccoons. And in some ways, I might have believed him. But I found it very strange. So, anyway, there's other little things like that that was happening on the land. But those little things, he tried to convince me that somebody was trespassing. Oh, yeah. For example, he kept saying that somebody was coming onto the land and opening a door on the cat house. Mind you, this door is broke. And I can't even open it. David Ray can't even open it. But mysteriously, someone else is supposedly coming onto the land and opening said door. I'm like, how is that possible? You know, now, I've never seen this door open. He just claims it was open and he had to close it again. But he never provided proof. You know, I had goats turn up missing. And he acted like he had no idea what happened. I had other animals turn up missing, but he acted like he didn't know what happened. Of course, I found out later that he's into torturing animals, so he could have killed and tortured them, or tortured and killed them, and then disposed of their bodies. But I have no proof of that. It's just theory. So anyway, so for years, and there's been other things too, you know, moving things around. He did the same thing to Valerie over at George and Valerie's. back in 2015. 2014. 2014, 2015. He kept doing things to Valerie to make her feel or think she was crazy. Moving books or stealing them. And then putting them back. You know, things like that. She swore he was doing it, but she had no proof. Well, recently, there's another thing too. I had George ended up lining up tree work for us to, this guy was gonna knock the trees down because he's trying to clear his fields and stuff, but he's buying the property from George. George is the one I bought Kaplinger from. And so this guy's owner financing land from George, just like I owner financed my property from George. And so George and I lined up going over there and cutting up these trees and processing them for selling wood, firewood. And so David Ray went over there a couple times to do the work, because it was mostly we lined up work for David Ray to do to make some extra money and to make us some extra money, you know. But either David Ray wanted all the money for himself, or he didn't want the work, or both. So he sabotaged the situation. He acted like he was willing to go do the work, but when it boiled down to it, he never really wanted to go. And when he did go, he created problems. He would tell the guy buying the property, he would tell George that the guy buying the property was doing malicious things, because George still had assets over there. And David Ray kept telling George that this guy was messing with George's things. Now, mind you, George should have already gotten all of his stuff off that property if he's selling it to the guy. But they had an arrangement, right? The guy was going to house his stuff until George had a place to relocate it. Meanwhile, George would owner finance him the property until, because George had liens against the properties. Actually, he had liens against himself, which ended up being against the properties. But he ended up getting the liens taken care of, and so once I got my property paid off, I was able to get the title in my name. And so now this guy can finance the property through the bank now that the liens are taken care of if he wanted to. But anyways, Judas was creating problems for George and this guy. And this guy figured it out, and he told me about it. I don't know if he told George. I'm sure he did. But he told me about it. And that was my second real clue. I mean, I kind of suspected things were happening, but my theory was that David Ray, Judas, was going senile, or that he was multiple personality disorder, like his other personality would do weird shit on the land and then he would not remember it because it was his alternate personality doing the things. And then his regular personality would be clueless as to what his other personality did. Because he was a really good liar and a really good actor and really good at pretending he didn't know what the heck was going on. Now I think it's not multiple personality disorder. I think he's doing it on purpose to create problems. And then he plays dumb because he's a really good liar. He's really good at playing dumb. And he's really good at playing innocent victim. So yeah, it's like with this wood splitter, I guess he made Lori think that I might be interested in selling it. But then again, Lori isn't exactly honest and trustworthy either. Anyway, so I went and checked out the wood chipper she was talking about. It wasn't as big as she claimed it was. She said it was worth like $1,500 when it was really worth only maybe $500 brand new. Of course, David Ray said she couldn't be trusted, but she got the idea to buy the wood chipper or splitter, or trade the wood splitter with me from him. So it's like he gave her the idea, then he turned around and told me she can't be trusted. So I was like, okay. But I didn't put that together till later. I don't know if she can be trusted or not. So I don't really need that anymore. Oh, these are just notes to myself. I'll leave that for now. Oh, this is with David Ray and myself. That was a long time ago. That was a tree job in Kansas City we were going to go do, but we didn't get the job. So anyway, so it's funny now that, and it's not funny, but you know, it's ironic that, okay, Judas has been trying to convince Cindy for years that her neighbors were trespassing and doing things on her property, but there was no evidence of it. Now that Judas has been kicked off of my property, he's been officially gone since 4th of July, or July 1st. It's now the end of August. And Cindy said somebody came over and rummaged through her shed and moved heavy objects that were too heavy for a raccoon to move. And she said that specifically. So and she's aware of him blaming everything on raccoons, right? She goes, somebody's been in my shed. And, you know, they made not really a mess of it, but they made it in disarray and moved these two heavy totes that she could barely move herself. And she specifically said they're too heavy and too bulky for a raccoon to be able to move. These totes are full of books. Now, she does somewhat suspect her neighbors, but her neighbors have never come onto her property and done anything on her property that she knows of since she's been there. You know, it's been pretty peaceful. But now all of a sudden, now that Judas has kicked off of my place and he's now living at Bill and Shirley's, which is about a mile from her place, mysteriously within the last couple weeks, because it was only a couple weeks ago when she was in the shed last, mysteriously within the last couple weeks, someone went into her shed, moved stuff around, and left it in disarray. So we will see if Judas says anything about her neighbors trespassing and doing weird things on her property again, trying to convince her of her neighbors doing malicious things or shady things. You know, he does things like that to instill fear in people and make them reliant on him, or feel like they need to be reliant on him. And I think what he's doing is he's wearing out his welcome at Bill and Shirley's already. So he's trying to find or make someone feel or think that they need him. So maybe he's sabotaging her to make her think that her neighbors are sabotaging her, so that he can swoop in and rescue her. Like, oh, I can be your savior. I can come in and help you. I can keep an eye on your neighbors, make sure they're not doing anything shady. I'm willing to bet that's what he's going to do. So I'm just documenting this to see if he actually does do this activity. So I need to reformat this phone, so I'm just documenting evidence in my phone as well as documenting that. So that happened, I don't know when it happened. It happened within the last couple weeks, and I got notified yesterday, August 30th. It's now August 31st. So he's been off the land, off my land, and over at Bill and Shirley's for 2 months now. So within this last month, someone has went over to Cindy's and rummaged through her shed. Now, it's never happened before. She's never had anything weird like that happen before. It only started recently, and David Ray is known for doing things like that. So it is highly suspect, and he is one of the 3 suspects that we suspect. Actually, he's the 1 suspect that I suspect, but he's one of 3 that she suspects. So we'll see what happens, but I'm just documenting the evidence on this here video. Don't really need this. David Ray. Oh, that was David Ray and Bill. So yeah, we did Bill a favor and cut down his tree for free. Because Bill helps a lot of people in the community. That was actually Cindy's idea to do it for free. But anybody else, the regular price would have been higher than even $562. That was an STD, standard takedown, and it was near the house. And so we had to make sure it didn't hit or fall on the house or any other, the back deck or his rose bushes or some of his other plants, his Cindy's. I put Bill on the Z list on this phone because I thought Bill wasn't my friend, but it turns out he is. He only took Judas in for the same reason I took Judas in, is because we felt sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him anymore. But Bill won't let him talk bad about me. And he said so. He's like, he's not allowed to badmouth you over there anymore. He's been doing it since 2019, but now Bill won't allow him to trash talk me anymore. Bill used to be a missionary, and so he almost feels like it's his duty as an idiot to take these worthless eaters in. Even though they're evil, you know. But like I used to tell my mother, imagine yourself as a computer. And the community, the city, your friends, your family, your network of people are networks of other computers tied in to your computer through a network. Now imagine your computer gets a virus. And your computer gets infected by this virus and it starts having problems. Imagine a person being said virus and your life is your computer, and this person, you stupid son of a bitch. Slow down for these people merging onto the highway and then they slam on the brakes. Anyway, so imagine a person being the virus and they infect your life and your environment. Well, these other people that are plugged into your life and your environment don't want to be infected, so they start unplugging, just like they would unplug their computers from your network if your network was infected with viruses. Well, that's basically what happened to me. There was people that unplugged from me because I had David Ray, Judas, in my environment. Now that I got rid of him, Bill took him. So Bill is now the host of said virus. And since I've been cleaning my computer, so to speak, from said virus, now I've decided to unplug my computer from Bill's computer because I don't want to get reinfected. If that makes sense. But Bill is allowing his computer, his life, his environment to be infected by these viruses. Not just Judas. He's got 4 viruses over there living on his land. 4. Now, I've been there. I had like a half dozen viruses living on my land, but I eventually got rid of them all. I thought David Ray, Judas, was the lesser of evils. Wrong. He was probably one of the worst. But he had me hoodwinked. So anyway, yeah. So that's it for now. But, oh yeah. Let me go in here real quick. Let me go ahead and document this. I was going to document the one I sent to Lori first. If it's in here, here it is. So here's the letter that I sent to Deb. When she would not return the goats that David Ray, Judas, stole from us. I see you have made your decision, because I gave her an ultimatum basically to return said goats. Oh yeah. Let me go back to text messaging real quick. I got a lot of messages in here. The last few are spam. I put that as Bill's picture because Bill is an enabler. He's basically enabling Judas. Which I also found out something else recently. Bill will probably enable Judas for his pedophile crap because Bill doesn't think there's anything wrong with an adult dating and marrying a 12-year-old or someone of that nature, because his great-grandmother got married at 12. That was like 100 years ago. You know? So now I can't really say anything about Judas being a pedophile because Bill will probably just enable him like he has been doing all along. And I found out because his friend Dave Powers was complaining about Jerry Lee Lewis marrying his cousin at, said age. I don't remember how old she was, but she was young. And he was in his 20s. But David Ray's in his almost 60. He's in his late 50s, and he's after women, underage women. And, it's a bigger difference in age gap, and it's more creepy, fucked up. But David Powers, of course, David Powers doesn't know that David Ray is a pedophile or has pedophile tendencies. But where is Deb? It's been a while since I texted her because I ended up having to Facebook her because she, here she is. She wasn't receiving or responding to my texts. But I also found out that's partly my phone's fault because my phone got a virus or something back in May. And I took it to tech support in Springfield, or a store in Springfield, and that guy jacked up my phone even more. He fixed the virus problem, but he changed some settings in my phone, and ever since then, either between my phone or between the virus or that guy, I haven't been able to send and receive messages properly. So I ended up changing phones, and now I'm backing this one up so that I can reformat it and do a hard reset. But anyway, so June 11th, this is like right after Judas stole my goods. Oh, no, this is right before. I'm sure you've already heard of David Ray's his smear campaign. I'm sure you realize this already, but him and I are done. He no longer represents me, nor speaks for me in any form nor fashion. And then my liquidation page. I don't know if this will open or not. Now, it's redirecting to that server I paid for 2 or 3 years, and now I'm having problems with it. Anyway, so June 14th, my mom and I understand Judas has brought stolen property to your place. My mom is coming down this weekend, so we need to come over and talk to you in person about it. I have video of things that was taken that doesn't belong to him. My lawyer has been notified, and I've made a police report, but I would like to keep the government out of it if possible. Thanks. So I let her know I made a police report. Later I sent her a picture of said police report, letting her know she's been implicated. We went over there. She said she tried to text me not to come over, but I never got the message. So we showed up anyways. And then she tried to tell me, well, if they disappear in the middle of the night, I don't know anything about it. And so I says, I know you said to come over and get the goats in the middle of the night so that it looks like they just disappeared. But I talked to my lawyer and he said not to do that. Too risky. Not that I don't trust you, but I'm not sure who I can trust at this point. So we are going to have to find another solution. It says delivered. So she got the message. She just didn't respond. Or I didn't get the text message. I didn't realize at the time that I wasn't getting the messages. So I sent her this on Facebook. I see you have made your decision. It's funny you choose his side and believe him over me. After all these years, the two of you never liked one another. You say you don't want to be in the middle and that you're not picking sides, but actions speak louder than words. He put you in the middle when he asked you to put our goats on your land. You put yourself in the middle when you accepted his offer. So you are aiding and abetting. Like I told Lori when he sicked her on me because he can't fight his own battles. Look, here's the deal. Fucking assholes. Sorry, somebody cut me off. I moved over because of traffic. And then this person comes flying around me on the right and cuts me off, creating more traffic problems or whatever. Anyhow, I have no beef with you. Never really did. My only concerns before was because of things that he had said about you. But now, I question everything he says. If you only knew what I know now. Which is true. It's weird. He used to say that you and Deb, talking about Lori, because this is what I sent to Lori. It's weird. He used to say that you and Deb were the ones who started all the rumors about people in the community. But now, I question him, quote unquote. So the rest of this is similar to what I sent to Lori, but I revised it and put in more detail for Deb, because Deb and I are closer than Lori and I are. Deb's more in the community than Lori is. Lori's more on the outskirts of the community. She used to be more involved in the community, but now that she married Mike, she's more on the outskirts. She just doesn't really get involved in the community that much anymore. She preaches community stuff, but yet she doesn't really do community stuff, if that makes sense. He's always going around telling people I'm always picking on him because I wanted him to follow through with what he said he would do. He's really good at painting himself as a victim, a poor thing. And in some ways he is, but that's as a result of his childhood, not me. He's what they call a vulnerable narcissist. I just wish I never rescued him in the first place. And I wish I could unsee and unhear what I know. If you look closely, do some homework, and pay attention, you will see that a lot of his life is built on lies. Which is very, very true. I wasn't paying attention before, but once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. My waking up process began around 2018, when he basically abandoned me and tried moving into Bill and Shirley's greenhouse permanently, when it was only supposed to be temporary. Yeah, he's only supposed to be there for the winter of 2017, and he basically moved in. It took him 2 years to get rid of him, and then he came back to my place. 2 years he basically neglected me, neglected the land, neglected all the animals. A lot of animals died, ran away, disappeared. Everything was in disarray. I was in an oil field at the time. When I needed him most, he was there for me least. When Sarah came into the picture in 2019, she was the one who started the backbiting and trash talking. You can ask my mother about that one. Her and Judas both would complain to my mother that I wanted them to do work around the land. Yet, they also didn't want to contribute financially. So, they just wanted a free ride. And that's when it really started going downhill. I should have got rid of him a long time ago, before it got worse. The two of them would trash talk me over at Bill and Shirley's all the time, amongst other places, I'm sure. But I would always hear about it from over there. But I tried to let it slide. I tried to turn the other cheek, so to speak. I didn't start to know and understand how bad he really was till Sherry came into town. After Sarah left, about a year ago, he mellowed out again. But Sherry took him to a whole nother level. That's when he really started showing his true colors. That's when he started backstabbing and sabotaging me more. And that's when I started taking away more of his freebies. All these years I've given him hand ups, but he took them for handouts. Then got angry with me and tried to punish me when I took them away. Which is true. He later figured out that Sherry was a fraud. Or at least that's what he told me. He thought he was going to monkey branch to her, but then figured out she was sabotaging her loans. And he also thought she was trying to take Bill and Shirley's property away from them. By the time he realized that, it was too late. He had already started burning the bridge between him and I. I had been burning it for a long time. He just added more fuel to the fire. So he doesn't even trust Sherry. He's just pretending to be her friend and using her like he uses everyone else. Anyway, after he did what he did to me after all these years, it made me realize I didn't really know this person like I thought I did. So I started to dig and do some homework. What I've uncovered makes me not want to dig anymore, for I'm afraid of what else I might find. It makes me sick to my stomach. I just can't believe he's had me fooled for so long. I thought I knew him, but now I don't really want to know anymore. By the way, he's only showing you and giving you half-truths. Yeah, he told her a bunch of lies about me and the goats and blah, blah, blah. He said I had too many goats on the land and I bought sick goats. He said, oh, I already said that. Okay. I bought those goats from Ian's goat trader. The same goat trader that Doc Kramer and his grandson uses. In fact, they're the ones that bought my goats when I finally sold them. And they bought them through that goat trader that Judas claims sells sick goats. And supposedly 3 people trying to warn me not to buy them from said goat trader. I'm still trying to figure out who these 3 alleged people are. Furthermore, people have been asking me for years why we have milk goats, but never milk them. People have been suggesting I go in the direction of meat goats, since David Ray refuses to milk the Nigerians. So that's what I was doing. And here's my website for my project that I had just started this year, but I had to put it on hold. Skygerians. What the heck is a Skygerian, you might ask? A Skygerian is a Spanish goat, Kiko, and Nigerian cross. What is a Skygerian good for? A Skygerian is a medium-sized goat for a farmstead, good for milk, meat, and milk both. Now this is speculation, for I have not made one yet. As of February 2022, I purchased 4 Kiko Spanish cross nannies to cross with my Nigerian males. Why? Kikos are originally a feral goat from New Zealand. They were crossed with 3 milk goats to give it more bulk. They are hardy and fairly parasite resistant. Recently, people have been breeding Kikos with Spanish goats for even more bulk and also parasite resistance. I like the parasite resistant qualities, but would like to give back some of its milk quality and bring it down a bit for a more manageable size for a medium-sized farmer like myself. Wish me luck and stay tuned for my results. But yeah, I basically had to put that on hold because of Judas. So I said I had 4 nanny Kikos, 6 baby buck Kikos, which I was planning to sell when they were old enough. I was trying to sell the Nigerian nannies. I had 10 Nigerian dwarfs. Judas only had 4 left at this time. If it weren't for me, we'd have 2 or less. Total, that's 24 goats on 15 acres. And half of them I was planning on or trying to sell. You can put up to 10 goats per acre, so you do the math. Yeah, Judas claims that the goats were dying for 2 reasons: because I bought sick goats and because I had too many goats on the land. We had 24 goats for 15 acres. You can put up to 10 goats per acre. So 15 acres, I could put 100 goats easy. You know? Now if I divided that by 3, you know, and made like 3 main yards on the 15 acres, 5 acres apiece, and rotated them properly, and actually probably made it 4 acres and rotated them properly within the 4 acres only, then yeah, 24 goats would be the minimum that I could have per 5 acres, right? 24 to what? 30? 35? Anyway, and I was planning on selling half of them. 2 disappeared, and a bunch of them died. Anyway, they died due to negligence. Judas was supposed to keep an eye on them when I was on the road, and he didn't. They died on his watch. He never notified me, and he did nothing to try and help them. I had to come home to sick and dead goats again, and he acted as if it wasn't his problem. He knew they were sick, and he just let them die. So that was my last straw. He claims the new goats brought in the sickness, but Ian's goats got the same sickness about the same time, and he never brought in new goats this year, so it was something else. Right, basically they got pink eye, but Ian's goats got pink eye too, and he never bought new goats, so it was something in the air. And Judas originally told me that he didn't think that the Kikos brought in the sickness. He thought it was something in the air. I was the one who thought the Kikos brought in the sickness. Then later, he said, oh, yeah, the goats did bring in the sickness, and number 16, because she had a tag on her here that said 16, so he called her 16. He said number 16 had conjunctivitis when we got him. And so it was her that spread the sickness, and it was my fault because I bought sick goats from this goat trader who sells sick goats, and supposedly 3 people tried to warn me. So he changed the story, right? But then I thought, well, if you knew they were sick to begin with, and they brought in this sickness, why did you not say or do anything about it? Either he didn't know because he wasn't paying attention, he wasn't checking on them, he didn't care, or he did know, and he didn't do anything about it because he doesn't care. Either way, it was sabotage. So, now he's going around telling everybody that I bought sick goats from this goat trader, this evil goat trader that sells sick goats. And it's my fault that the goats died, not his, because he's perfect and wonderful. And he's going around telling everybody that he specifically bred these goats to be a special breed when he could give a shit less. He didn't do anything specific. And that's the bullshit that he told me whenever he brought the goats down in the first place. Oh yeah, I was doing all this special breeding to make them a special kind of goat. It's like, if you cared that much about these goats and you made them these thoroughbred type goats that you claim you made them, why do you not pay them more attention and just let them die? Because he's full of shit, that's why. All the male goats died. I'm the one who went out and bought more male goats. And then he let them die. These were purebred, high quality, maybe the best quality Nigerian dwarfs you can get your hands on. Very, very high dollar goats that I bought, these first 2 goats, male goats. And he just let them die. And he blamed me. Said I bought too many goats. And that's when I started doing my homework and found out they were parasite ridden. I think that's the right word. They were filled with parasites. So I went and got the Sidectin, tried to get him to give it to them, but he refused because it wasn't organic. And so I ended up having to give it to him. So that's when I took over the goat care and the goat maintenance. So since I took over, I went out and bought 2 more purebred Nigerian dwarfs. These weren't as good a quality as the ones I had previously bought, but they were still purebred. They were still good quality goats. Well, one was good quality, the other one was not so much. So, the other one was a prize goat. I liked both of them, but the other one I liked more. He was a good goat. He was a damn good goat. And Judas just let him die too. But anyways, while I was on the road, they got sick. He didn't check on them. He didn't take care of them, and they died. I came home. My prize goat was dead. I was pissed, and that was when they got the pink eye. All right. So it might have been partly my fault that they got the pink eye. I don't know. But it was his responsibility to check on them while I was on the road, and he never did. He just let them die. Either that, or he did check on them and he did see that they were sick and he didn't care. I don't know what happened. All I know is I came home to sick and dead goats, and it was his responsibility to look in on them and look after them while I was gone. He's supposed to be the goat expert, but he doesn't give it 2 shits. And Deb is starting to realize that, because now she's complaining that he's not taking care of the goats on her property. He comes down only maybe twice a month to check on them. And she's getting sick of it. Twice a month. She does not want to take care of the goats, but she's now forced to take care of his and my goats, or my mother's goats, because Judas only goes over there twice a month to take care of them. Yeah, of course, she told me a lie. She told me, oh yeah, he's taking good care of them whenever we went over there to get our goats back. She said, oh yeah, he's very attentive. He comes and takes care of them. That was a lie. Because I heard through the grapevine that she's complaining that he only goes over there twice a month to take care of the goats. And she's sick and tired of taking care of the goats. And he's got till winter to get rid of them. So, you'll see here in a minute that I called that one in the letter before I even knew about it. But anyways, so yeah, this part here, like I said, a lot of this I copy and pasted from Lori's message that I sent to Lori, which I'll document her stuff later. But I was going to document it first, but now I'm documenting it second. Lori, am I still recording? Yeah. Lori, he told Lori that I only gave him a 15-day notice when I actually gave him a lot more. And she told me it was illegal for me to only give him a 15-day notice. Well, anyway, so I said, I gave Judas over 60-day notice. In the first month, he was dragging his ass as usual. So I had to take it up a notch in order for him to take me seriously. That's whenever I started going postal. I knew the only way to get him out expediently was to act crazy. And my lawyer has been by my side the entire time. Yeah, see, later she thought I heard through the grapevine that she thought I was being irrational. But I was acting irrational to get rid of him. But I was being rational about acting irrational, if that makes sense. And it worked. So yeah, it worked. I got him out of there quickly. He stole a bunch of my stuff, but I got rid of him. He's no longer my problem. I'm sure he's gonna do things secretly to try to sabotage me, just like now that I'm looking back, I think that he's the one who called the Department of Health on me, because she said some guy gave her our business card and said that we were dumping poop out of our RVs onto the land, just dumping the poop on the land without burying it or anything like that. And I couldn't figure out who this strange guy was and how he would know whether or not we were dumping poop on the land or not, which we weren't. But you know, we have a latrine and we dig a hole and we bury it, which is legit. You know, they still might not like that, but it's legit, right? But this guy, whoever he was, claimed that we were just dumping human waste on the land. And Sarah might have been, I don't know. But I wasn't. I don't think Sarah was. I really don't. Judas, he was pooping in a bucket and then burning it in a burn barrel. So I don't know if that's just as good or better than burying it. But anyhow, but I think it was him, you know. I didn't think about it at the time, but I should have asked him if this guy was wearing a fedora, because David Ray's the only guy who wears a fedora in our county, and probably you know, beyond that. But anyway, so anyways, I gave Judas over 60-day notice, blah, 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 and it worked. Now that he is gone, he is no longer my problem, that I know of. But, to be honest, I meant pretty much everything I said. It was heavy hitting, but it was true. He bullied me, manipulated me, freeloaded me, gaslighted me. Long enough. So I'm finally standing up for myself. If I have to release the Kraken in order to do so, then so be it. Yeah, I haven't released the Kraken yet. The pedo stuff is going to be my trump card, if you will. I just don't know how I'm going to implement it or who I'm going to implement it to, since it's probably not really going to do any good. But then again, who knows? I just gotta figure out my strategy. But I've got all the evidence. I just don't know how to apply the evidence, if that makes sense. So anyway, I'm just waiting for the right opportunity, for the right door to open for me to walk through it. And I've got some ideas, I just haven't done it yet. Alright, so I meant pretty much everything I said. Blah, 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 Kraken. So be it. I should have done it long ago. Believe it or not, I am holding back. Yes, I have been holding back. I'm just happy to be rid of him, even though he stole a lot of things from me, which is also true. My batteries for my solar setup and the goats. I'm saving money by not having him around. Yeah, I'm saving a shit ton of money by not having him around because he's not killing my animals. He's not letting my animals die. He's not stealing or breaking my tools and equipment. He's not leaving my stuff out in the field for it to just get lost and destroyed by the elements. And, you know, it's like I destroyed a lawnmower because of a tool that David Ray left in the field and let the grass grow up around it. And I was mowing and the lawnmower hit this tool and bent the whatchamacallit on the lawnmower, and now the lawnmower was basically incapacitated, and I had to go take it to the Amish to get it fixed. So that cost me money because of Judas, you know. I'm still finding tools in the field. You know, I have to be careful when I run the lawnmower through the field because I'm still finding tools in the field, in the grass, when I mow. Things that have just been buried for years by the weeds. So, and then tearing up my equipment. You know, he ran my pickup truck into the dirt. And he acted like I owed it to him. You know? But anyway, I'm happy to get rid of him. Blah, blah, blah. He was consistently breaking my tools and equipment to get out of doing work. I thought he was just too hard on the equipment, and or that he didn't know his own strength. But then when I sent him on jobs, he would break the customer's tools and or find some other way to sabotage the job to get out of the work, which is also true. I've got a half dozen or more people that I have evidence and testimonies to that fact. Half my customers and associates won't do business with him or I because of it, mostly him. And they wouldn't do business with me beforehand because I had him, said virus, in my network, in my circle. But now that I got rid of him, a lot of my old friends and associates are coming back around being like, oh, it's about time. You know, basically. And or they're like, well, I didn't want to say anything before because he was your friend, blah blah blah, or that you lasted a lot longer than I could have, things of that nature. And they basically didn't want to associate with me or have anything to do with me because of him. My brother is another one. You know, my brother didn't want to come down and be a part of my project because of David Ring. My mother and her boyfriend didn't really want to come down anymore because of him. A lot of people were like that. Business associate in Kansas City, friends in Kansas City, business associates and customers in Cedar County and beyond. And I already gave you some examples of ways he was sabotaging jobs earlier. You know, just to get out of the work. Or because he wanted more money or something. But he couldn't just say something. He had to manipulate the situation, sabotage the situation to get what he wanted. Oh, and you're always saying that fear is a sin, right? Yeah, she's always browbeating Cindy because Cindy is fearful of things. And she's always like, fear, sin, sin, sin. I was over at Cindy's once helping out, and Deb was there. And Cindy was worried about something with the propane heater. You know, just voicing her concerns. And Deb was like, sin, sin, sin. You know, trying to harass Cindy because she had some legitimate concerns. You know, maybe some of them weren't legitimate, but nonetheless, some of them were. She was fearful or she was concerned about gas leaks, fires, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She didn't know anything about propane and propane heaters. So she was voicing her concerns so that we could address them. But Deb tried to make her out to be that she was sinful because she was living in fear. And I was there to witness that one, right? So here it is. So you're always going around saying that fear is sin, right? What do you say about someone who tries to instill fear in someone? Example, telling people that their neighbors are trespassing when they are not. What do you call someone who sabotages you or sabotages you to make you look like or feel like you're crazy, or that your neighbors are going onto your land and doing things or taking things off your property? He's not only done this to Cindy and myself, he's done it to a few others as well that I know of. I know, like you said before, hang on a second. Alright, I gotta wrap this up. That's Sophie. I know. Okay. Let me go back. He's not only done this to Cindy and myself, he's done this to a few others as well that I know of. I know. Like you said before, it's his word against mine. Isn't that how it usually works? That's why when I started figuring out what was going on, I started documenting the evidence. I have video evidence and other documents to prove my case. And that's why I'm documenting this right now. So, there you have it. You know, I was telling her, you know, that he's been trying to instill fear in Cindy about her neighbors trespassing and doing things on her property in the past. Every time he goes over there, he's all like, oh yeah, your neighbors are trespassing. Your neighbors, you gotta watch out for your neighbors. Trying to make her fearful of her neighbors. Right? Now, recently, now that he's no longer on my property, he's over at Bill's, about a mile from her. That's not that far to walk. It takes him maybe 15 minutes to get there. Now, strange things are starting to happen on Cindy's property. And it didn't start until Judas moved to Bill's. And now he's practically her neighbor. So, we don't know that Judas is the one doing it, but it didn't start happening until he moved over there about a mile away. And beforehand, he was projecting that the neighbors are doing something that they weren't doing, and she knew they weren't doing it. She's like, nah, I have proof that there's no evidence that they're doing it. He's just trying to make me fearful. And she said this numerous times before. Now that he's in her orbit, now mysterious things are happening. Is it a coincidence? I think not. Anyways, we don't have to be friends, you and me, but you will remember this day. Someday you will want to come to me and apologize, just as I went to the people that tried to wake me up before, and I apologized to them. She'll never apologize to me. If she does, I'll be shocked. But I don't think she'll ever apologize to me. But she'll want to. But I don't think she ever actually will. So someday you will want to come to me and apologize, just as I went to the people who tried to wake me up before, and I apologized to them. It may take some time for the truth to come to the light, but in time it will. I don't need any of you. Like you, I can stand on my own 2 feet. I am my own man, and I am not a fraud. Yeah, see, Judas has to make people, he has to do trickery to people to make them feel like they need him. He has to lie and puff himself up and do all these things to make people think they need him. So, and he has to belittle them and make them feel as if they're beneath him and that he is superior to them, so that he can take advantage of them and mooch off of them. He needs those people more than they need him, but he tries to twist it to make it out to be that they need him when really he needs them. So he manipulates them to being submissive to him, so that he doesn't have to be submissive to them. But in reality, he needs them more than they need him. I think I said that right. he needs them more than they need him, but he twists the reality to make them think and feel they need him more so that he can have the advantage. It's pretty fucked up. It took me a long time, 9 years or less, but at least half a decade to figure this out, at least. I didn't start figuring it out for like 4 or 5 years, but I really started figuring out the last couple of years, especially this last year. Once I really started figuring out, it just escalated so quickly that it was almost just like I was consumed with knowledge, overwhelmingly consumed with knowledge, and I didn't know how to process it all, you know. So I did get a little emotional, but yeah, it's like boom. It's like when you first wake up and the light is blinding you. It's kind of like that, and it takes a while for your eyes to adjust and your brain and everything to adjust to the light. It was kind of like that. It was just overwhelming. Like I said, on my own 2 feet, I'm my own man, not a fraud. They say you can count your true friends on one hand. I thought David Ray was one of them, but I was wrong. Yeah, see, he made it out to be like he was my best friend, and really he was just, he was beating me down, bringing me down, and using and manipulating me the whole time. He's a really, really good liar. Now I'm getting hoarse. Now, I'm not perfect and never claim to be. I try to know and work on my flaws. One of them is that I'm a rescuer and that I can be an enabler like Bill. I would have probably never kicked David Ray out if he didn't do me dirty like he did. My plan was to just stick him in the back corner so he can be a troglodyte bum over there. I would have never started digging up and finding out the dark shit from his past and present if he hadn't done me wrong like he did. People have been asking me for years, what's he hiding from? Now I know, and I want him as far away from me as possible. Pretty much. Yeah, I was even going to give him the 10% of that land that I own on that 20 acres. It's 2 acres. He could have owned 2 acres. I was just going to give it to him. He would have owned 2 acres and would have had free reign over 20 acres to do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. Because the land is basically worthless to anybody else buying it. None of the owners that own it, except for me and Jeff Dietrich, really want anything to do with it. They've all walked away from the project because it was a scam. So, I'm planning on buying out all the other owners. But I had thought about just giving my 10%, my 2 acres, to him. Just giving it to him. But he fucked me over too many times. Stabbed me in the back and sabotaged me. Talked trash on me to the county and the community. So I was like, you know what? Fuck you. You ain't getting shit from me. And I got rid of him. Bill wanted me to give him my overseas storage container that he was using. And I considered it. But he fucked me too many times. You know? In an unenjoyable way. And I'm not gay. So, yeah, I'm like, why should I give him anything? You know? He's cost me thousands of dollars. He's cost me time, energy, stress, anxiety, friends, business associates, other connections, probably my relationship, with Kim, although I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he created some problems there, but Kim had her own problems, but who knows? He could have instigated problems there. I don't know. Anyways, so like Bill said, he brought this all upon himself. Bill pretty much agrees with me, and he said he's seen this coming for some time now. He just wished I was nicer in parting ways. But if I chose Bill's path, it would have probably taken another 2 years to basically get rid of him. I'm not wasting another 2 years on him. I've already wasted 9 years. I'm not going to do any more. No one wants him. He's asked around. Yeah, he's asked around to a lot of people. He tried to make people feel sorry for him. He trash talked me to all these people in the county. A lot of them came to me and told me what he said about me. None of those people wanted him. He had no place to go. I was basically stuck with him if Bill didn't take him. But I wasn't gonna be stuck with him. I wanted him out. I was gonna make him homeless if necessary. He brought it on himself. Fuck him. The trick tried to make me make him homeless years ago, and I wouldn't do it because I was like, no, that's not right. I didn't realize how evil he was. The trick obviously seen it, but the trick wasn't probably much better himself. But the trick wanted me to make him homeless back in 2013, but I didn't. I stuck by his side, and this is how he repays me. I didn't even turn my back on the trick. I tried to not turn my back on the trick, but the trick turned his back on me because I wouldn't turn my back on David Ray. And this is how David Ray repays me. This is what I get for my generosity. So, like Bill said, he brought this all upon himself. Bill pretty much agrees with me, and he said he's seen this coming for a long time now. He just wished I would be nicer in parting ways. But if I chose Bill's path, it would take another 2 years. I'm not wasting another 2 years on him. I've already wasted 9. I'm not going to do any more. No one wants him. He's asked around. Bill took him only because he feels sorry for him. I did too, but I can't do it anymore. That being said, I've heard through the grapevine that he's now complaining about Bill as he did me. I guess Bill got onto him for slacking off on Ian, and Bill's not feeding him like he wants him to, like he used to. So now he's talking trash on Bill behind his back. It's only a matter of time before he starts sabotaging him as well. Bill bent over backwards to get Ian to hire Judas. Ian didn't want to hire him. Back in 2016, after PJ quit cutting and splitting wood at Ian's, Judas wanted to take his place. talked me into buying a $1,500 wood splitter, and he made a deal / agreement with Ian to do the work with my equipment, but he never followed through. He tried to make it out that Jerry cost him the job, but that was a lie. Bill went out of his way to get Ian to hire David Ray, and now he doesn't want to work. He's always preaching, you don't work, you don't eat. Yet, he's complaining that Bill won't feed him. What an idiot. Or, are we the idiots because we buy into his bullshit? Yeah. You know, she bought into his bullshit too. Yes, he may be taking care of those goats at your place for now, but that too shall pass. And it actually had already passed as I was writing this. But I didn't know that. I know that now. I mean, I knew it because past predicts future. But anyways, I should have put that in there. Past predicts future. He only has them as a sympathy card, like a lot of women have children. He never bought food or medicine for any of the goats for the last 7 years, till now. He claims he did. Yes, he bought some hay with the money I gave him to buy hay. Not the same. But I know, you don't really care. I'm probably wasting my time and my breath. This letter is probably falling on deaf ears. Once he finds a new sucker, he will go back to his old ways, if not sooner. I don't think there's a cure for whatever it is that he has. I think Cindy said that last part. I liked it so much that I threw it in there. I can't remember who said it. I'm not sure Cindy wants the credit, but somebody said it. I can't remember, but somebody else said it. I didn't come up with that one. I'll tell you one last thing before I go. 2016, when you and I first met at Bill and Shirley's 4th of July bash, I liked you. Like. I asked Lori about you, but she said you was seeing someone else. Jack, I believe. After David Ray Judas learned that I had a thing for you, he warned me against you, telling me that you was an abusive alcoholic, and told me his version of your story with your ex-husband. How he was a nice guy, but you used and abused him. That you was promiscuous and you cheated on him multiple times. It wasn't until 2018 when you and I was digging up sweet potatoes together, digging up David Ray's sweet potatoes. Did you tell me your version? Yeah, and actually, I heard through the grapevine that he told other people the same thing. So he didn't just tell me that story, he told other people the same story. That she was an abusive alcoholic, that he was a good guy and she just walked all over him and treated him like trash. So I'll leave you with that. If for some reason you have a change of heart, you can contact my mother, for Trig and Trigger are technically her goats. I will no longer be in touch. Yeah, I unfriended her, and I put her in Facebook Messenger as archive, I think it's called, where I won't see her messages. So if she sends me a message, I won't see it. I won't get it unless I go into the archives to look for it, which I don't plan on doing. P.S. I will not be coming and stealing our goats back per your suggestion, and potentially putting myself on the wrong side of the law. It's on you as to if you wish to do the right thing or not. Peace. Yeah, because I don't trust that she's not going to call the cops on me when I go try to steal my goats back in the middle of the night. Now, is it stealing if you go on someone else's property and take your property back? I don't know. I don't really know the legal ramifications of that. I just know that a long time ago, my realtor, my old former friend / realtor, had a girlfriend. And he cheated on this girlfriend with another woman, and he was out of town with this other woman. When he came back, he was locked out of his own house. His girlfriend that he was living with, he changed all the locks, cleaned him out, moved everything into storage, all of his business stuff, his personal stuff, everything. She basically put him out of business. She took everything, cleaned him out, changed the locks, changed the code on the alarm system, everything. He talked me into helping him break into his house so he can get his house back. And I knew it was borderline legal at the time, but I knew it was his house. He was my friend, so I did it. And I almost got in trouble for that. You know, the alarm went, he said, if the alarm goes off, don't worry, I'll take care of it. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I go in the window, I open the front door, he heads for the alarm to disable it while I'm with my screw gun, my battery-powered screw gun, taking the doorknob apart so that we could change the locks. I mean, I'm on this, right? Boom, boom, boom. It's like a military extraction. Boom, I was in, I was on it. He couldn't turn the alarm off because she changed the code. So he ran, jumped in his car and took off. Left me there. And all the neighbors, of course, we're in an all black neighborhood, right? I'm the only white guy. And my truck, you know, is very noticeable because I got advertisements all over it because I was a businessman, I was in advertising. So I got all these advertisements all over my truck. I can't hide, I can't run, there's no place to go. I'm the only white dude with a very obvious truck in an all black neighborhood. And if I try to do anything weird, you know, who knows what would have happened. Could have got shot. So, you know, I walked to one of the neighbors with the screw gun in hand. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Victor, blah, blah, blah. And the alarm went off and then he just took off. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what to do. And the lady was like, oh, that's illegal. He can't be doing that. He shouldn't be doing that. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I stood there for a minute and it's a scratch in my head. It's like, well, I don't know what to do. Victor left and abandoned me. So I guess I'm just gonna leave. And then I slowly walked to my truck, took my tool belt off, put my tools in the back of the truck, slowly got in the truck, and slowly left. You know? Because I was like, I do not want to make myself a target here. Move very carefully. You know? So I'd already been in a situation similar to that at that point, right? So, is it legal to go onto someone else's property and steal your property back? Take your property back? I don't know. I'd already made a police report. And would the police do anything? I don't know. They told me it was just a civil matter. Maybe I should go ask the police, hey, if I go steal my goats back, is that a civil matter? Or is that a criminal matter? So, and I might ask my lawyer that too, because I didn't actually ask my lawyer. I asked other people, my legal counsel. I just said that my lawyer said not to do it, but other people advised me not to because I could get myself in legal trouble. But I don't know. Could I? Would I? So I'm thinking maybe I might just go over there and do that. Problem is, both my pickup trucks are broke down now, so I can't. But anyways, I'm already pushing 2 hours. So, and I gotta call Sophie back. So yeah, Judas is basically sabotaging people. I have a feeling he's wearing his welcome out over at Bill and Shirley's, and he's looking for someplace else to go. And so he's gaslighting Cindy to make her feel like she needs him to protect her from her neighbors. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's my letter to Deb. Talking about the past, talking about the future. We'll see what happens. But yeah. Oh, I got on my other phone my documentations of the pedo stuff. But yeah, I got this new software called The Brain, I think it's called. And it helps you map out different things and connect the dots between the two, between everything, and it looks kind of cool. I'm not sure how much I'll like it and use it, but someone else who uses it a lot turned me on to it. And so I'm playing with it, and I'm using Judas as a test because I know a lot about him. Using him as my prototype on this Brain app to document all my evidence and see how well it works, and connecting dots to one another and everything. It's really kind of cool. Like I said, I'm not sure how much I'll use it, but yeah. Alright. So, yeah, I guess that's that. Alright, bye.